In this lesson, we will learn how to create custom parameters, and we'll also learn how to wire parameters together. What we'll do in this lesson is use a custom parameter to drive the character's elbow. Now, before we go in and create this parameter, we first should decide where it should live. So just for clarity, it might be best to just add it to our animation control, because eventually we'd want to go in and hide all objects that would be a distraction by the end when the rig is finally finished. That would be this IK goal and the helper. So what we could do here is go ahead and select our ARM control, and we could either use Alt-1 to get to our parameter editor, or we can access it from the animation menu. Here's the parameter editor. Okay, so here's where we'd go to create our custom parameters. Now, before we create this, let's keep in mind that, let's just head over to our modify panel. If we were to go ahead and add a custom parameter to this control, watch what's going to happen. I'll go ahead and choose add. Now, where is it? Well, it's going to be all the way at the end of this list of properties. This is not convenient at all. So what we could do then is create an attribute holder that will allow us to just get to the custom attribute. And by doing so, we don't have to worry about this long list of other parameters that are meaningless to us. So what I'll do is go ahead and undo back the creation of that parameter, just pressing Control Z. I'll just go ahead and double check to make sure it's gone. Take a look, we have to scroll all the way down just to check for that. That's not good. Now, with the animation control still selected, let's go to our modifier list. We'll press the A key to get to our attribute holder a bit faster. So now take a look. When we look at the attribute holder, we can see that we're working with a clean slate. There are no properties that we'll have to scroll through. What's great is that we can go in and rename this attribute holder. Let me close out the parameter editor here. We can right-click on the attribute holder and rename it to whatever we'd like. Since we'll be adding extra controls to this object, we can go ahead and name this extra underscore controls. Again, just for clarity. And now, with our ARM control still selected, let's go ahead and use the hotkey Alt-1 to quickly get back to our parameter editor. Now, what I like to do is add a category or separator just to kind of add clarity to the list of custom parameters I make when rigging. So an idea would be to first start with a string parameter type that allows us to add text, and then we can go ahead and name the parameter elbow, so we know exactly what will follow. So I'm going to go ahead and simply name this elbow and choose add, and now it's been added. So if you wanted to, you can go ahead and type in whatever into this blank field. Really won't do anything to the rig, it's just for clarity. You can always name this swivel control, or if you had any specific notes, you can go ahead and add them here. But now we can go ahead and add the animatable parameter, which we can call swivel. Alright, so we can now go back to our parameter type and switch this to float, and go in and rename this to swivel. I'd also recommend changing the min and max range. So the from range, we'll set that to -360. That's our minimum value. And our to range, +360. So we have a lot of room to work with. Okay, at the bottom we could see that we have an idea of how the parameter will look once it's been applied. So when we go ahead and now choose add, here we have it. So we now have a swivel parameter. Very nice. Okay, so from there we can now close out our parameter editor. Now if we ever need to get back and edit this, we could always go back to animation and choose the parameter editor again. But notice here at the top, right next to add, we find edit delete. So here's where we can go in and either rename the parameter, or we could simply remove it by choosing delete parameter or delete all. And then we'd want to make sure to apply those changes once we're finished. Alright, so I'll go ahead and just cancel that out. Just wanted to point that out to you. Okay, so how are we going to now control our elbow? So here's where we get to work with wire parameters. We can access it under the animation menu, Here we have it. And here's the hotkey for it. Control 5. If we need to just get to the wire parameter dialog, we would use Alt 5. So let's go ahead and choose wire parameters with our animation control selected. And now it will ask us to navigate to the specific channel that we'd like to wire. So that's going to be modified object, extra controls, custom attributes, swivel. Again, what we need to do is navigate to our attribute holder's parameter. Here it is. So next, we'll need to go ahead and select the IK goal and go ahead and find our swivel angle. That's what we'd like to connect. So let's go ahead and select that and take a look. The wire parameter dialog has now appeared. And here we can determine how we would like to control these selected attributes. We could either have the swivel angle control the swivel channel that we've made by using the arrow in the center, or if we use the last arrow, that allows us to have the custom channel control the swivel angle. If we use the arrow right here at the top, we have this bidirectional type of control. So if we were to go ahead and choose connect, what happens is now we can control the elbow either from our custom channel, or if we were to go to our IK goal, head back over to our motion panel and go to our swivel channel, notice we can control it from here as well. Sometimes this can work wonderfully, like in this case. This is great because now we have two ways to control this. But sometimes this type of connection can be dangerous and it can lead to discrepancies where things don't function properly. So we need to be very careful when using it. I like to avoid it altogether. There are other ways we can get this type of control with expressions and such, but this option is there, and if you are going to use it, I'd use it for more basic connections. So our swivel, we can most certainly use it to control that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the other option we have. So I'm going to go ahead and now choose the bottom arrow. Again, I'll choose connect. It's going to tell us that it's going to replace the two-way connection. Let's go ahead and just choose yes. So you can see that the channel that's being connected is highlighted red, and the channel that drives the connected channel is green. So let me go ahead and show you this now. If we were to go to our animation control, go to our modify panel, let's take a look. We can now control our swivel. If we were to go back to our IK goal, go to the motion panel and take a look at the swivel channel, notice it's locked down. Now, going back to our control object, you could see that the control is pretty severe, meaning that it's very easy to reorient the elbow with a drastic change. What if we wanted to slow that type of control down? Well, we simply need to convert our control from degrees, which we are currently using, to radians. So let me go ahead and show you a quick function you can use to adjust this behavior. If you were to go to swivel here, notice in this expression field we can go ahead and add more to this. So what I'll do is go ahead and type in deg to rad. Following that, we'll want to concatenate swivel, or put it in parentheses. So that's deg to rad, and then we'll put swivel in parentheses. And now when we choose update, it looks like nothing much has happened, but again, what we have done is converted degrees here to radians, and as we take a look at our swivel channel, watch this, now the control is much more convenient. The elbow doesn't move as drastically. There are other really cool things we can do with expressions in our wire parameter dialog. If you like to learn other techniques, feel free to take a look at character rigging for production. We essentially use it to blend between IK and FK using another type of function. So I'd highly recommend you take a look at that. Now, if you like to disconnect, simply use disconnect from here. No longer will that swivel channel control the elbow. So if we were to go back to our IK goal, we could see that we still have full control over that swivel angle channel. So I wanted to point that out to you, but chances are we're going to want that control to be brought back. So I'll go ahead and connect. Again, we'll use our deg to rad function. Make sure to concatenate swivel and choose update. And now we have a very convenient way to animate the character's elbow. All right, great. So from here, what I'd like to do is kind of clean things up a bit, and this won't take much time at all. Let's go to Layers. I'm going to go ahead and grab the characters helper as well as the IK goal, and let's go ahead and create an objects to hide layer. So with those two selected, we'll go ahead and create a new layer. We'll name it objects to hide. So now let's make sure the default layer is active. But watch, we can go in and hide those objects, and notice how clean the rig is now. So to the animator, this is great because they know that they just need to go ahead and grab this control and move it around. They could go ahead and rotate it around, and then if they need to control the elbow, they could just go to the swivel channel here and do that. So again, a very convenient control system. Well, that's a look at how to create custom parameters, how to edit custom parameters, and also how to wire parameters together.